Thank you very much indeed. It is my pleasure to be here with you tonight. And I'd like to thank all of you who had a hand in making it possible for me to stand at this podium. Ordinarily, I eschew podiums because they seem rather confining, but today I'm going to follow instructions. I'd like to say to you graduates, congratulations, because for a number of reasons, you need to be congratulated. Your earned degree in social work, whether it be PhD, MSW, or BA, will open many, many doors for you. And whether or not you had realized it, behind those doors will be a tremendous bevy of problems awaiting you. But you're prepared for that, right? Because you're ready to do problem solving. 45 years ago, I actually received an MSW degree down in Southern California. Upon hearing about it, my wife's grandmother called me and she said, "I have the job for you." She said, "I want you to come to the Fort Hall Reservation in Pocatello, Idaho, as soon as you can arrange transportation. We're waiting for you." She had already developed the job for me. All I had to do was to go. And as I think about that, it's the same for you. Many doors are going to open for you. I turned her down, by the way. I had other plans, but these doors will open, but you will have to decide which door you will walk through. For most of us, this journey we call life begins with a simple act of procreation, followed by approximately 9 months of gestation in the warm, fluid environment of the amniotic bubble. At the appointed time, our own personal biological imperative compels us to exit that nurturing environment, and we step into the drama of life in all of its manifest forms. Of the many tasks on our original agendas, one stands out. We have to make sense of a world that seems to operate beyond the boundaries of reason and sanity. In my case, this was all too true, since I was born in an era when this country operated under the aegis of the Plessy v. Ferguson decision rendered by the Supreme Court in 1896. That separate but equal decision that helped to cement the lines of social, political, and educational demarcation. At this point, it takes a while for us to get our bearings. We need help in solving the various and sundry equations, riddles, and mysteries of this drama swirling around us, but we do manage. Somehow we find ways to connect, to communicate with those around us, to discover tools that help us navigate this very uncertain terrain. Our strategies reflect our uniqueness. None of us confronts life in exactly the same way, but we do find kindred spirits along the way, others who share our passion for justice, equality for all, food for the hungry, shelter for the homeless, medicine for the sick and infirm, a society dedicated to ensuring and preserving the dignity of all its citizens. And it is here, in this School of Social Work, that you found the sanctuary you needed to develop your skills. Nurture those characteristics that define you as one concerned enough about the disorder of the world to do something about it. Here, in the company of like-minded students and dedicated faculty, you found answers for many of the vexing questions that generate so much anxiety for so many of us. You discovered as well that self is the basic tool to be used in your pursuit of goals and objectives. A vital part of your educational journey is a sharpening and calibration of this tool that will be used in creative and innovative ways at the best of times and will teach you about your imperfections at the worst of times. You see, as you get to know you at deeper and deeper levels, a more focused picture of the real you emerges, and who you are is a combination of strengths and weaknesses which together add up to the total you. Perfection is not an option for you, so there's no need to fret about that goal being unattainable. A more realistic goal is to develop high-level self-awareness, which, in the jargon of social work, is the least detrimental available alternative to perfection. As you enter myriad professional arenas, you will discover continuums along which people align themselves. Whatever the issue, the topic, the concern, the problem, or the decision to be made, there will be as many opinions as there are people involved. Immediately, you discover your need to deploy real-world relationship skills. Now, some of you, as students, you've already had the opportunity to experience this phenomenon in placement settings. Now, the stakes are higher. Expectations have changed, and your opinion matters more at this juncture. This is where the rubber meets the road, as some would describe it. It is also about integrity and your ability to know without doubt where you stand on any issue. Recently, I heard a minister tell this story. No doubt apocryphal, but instructive as we focus on principles of integrity. It was during the time that the United States Congress was considering prohibition in this country, and one senator challenged another to make his position clear. "Senator, we have not yet heard where you stand on whiskey." The reply, "Sir, if when you say whiskey, you mean that demon rum that wreaks havoc upon families, that vile liquid that robs young men of their sanity, that causes them to lose jobs and forsake civic obligations, or if you mean that insidious potion that drives young women to the streets for a life of debauchery, or if when you say whiskey, you mean that brew that allows the leaders of our country to remain overlong in states of inebriation, or if you intend to identify the firewater that leads to drunken brawls on the street corners of our nation, sir, if that's what you mean when you say whiskey, then know without doubt that I am now and forever opposed to such an evil. If that is your whiskey, then I will most certainly vote to ban the distillation, distribution, and sale of such heinous liquids. However, on the other hand, if what you mean by whiskey is that sweet oil of conversation that loosens the tongues of the timid, that mellow fluid which gives voice to the meek, that uplifting spirit used to revive the faint of heart, that delicious, sparkling beverage that adds glow and color to holiday festivities, if by whiskey you mean the ambrosial nectar of the gods consumed by young women, making them more amenable to exploring the mysteries of life, or that healing balm that puts the spring back into the steps of old men, sir, if that is what you mean by whiskey, then I will most certainly vote to continue the distillation, distribution, and sale of such a useful and needful libation. That, Senator, is where I stand on whiskey, and I will not back down. Now, it has been said many times by many people that if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. In your professional life, use the skills of critical analysis you have learned in this school of social work. Avoid any and all of the sound bites or buzzwords that will be used to recruit you to one camp or the other. Take your stand based on what you know deep within yourself to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A few years ago, I happened to meet Bryan Stevenson, the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative. Bryan is, by profession, an attorney, but by his work with prisoners on death row, he is indeed a social worker. And by his commitment to seeking justice for the downtrodden in our society, he demonstrates his integrity on a daily basis. He does not waver in the face of determined opposition, nor does he compromise his principles for the sake of fitting in or being politically correct. His example instructs us all as we seek to live lives based on the foundational principles of social work. And as we choose to live such lives, we are instantly aware of the gross darkness that covers most of us. Oh, it may seem at times that light has prevailed, that the sunshine has found a way to seep through the cracks, but in reality, even in the midst of a clear day, of any clear day, too many minds are cloaked in darkness. There is little awareness of the great social needs in our midst, too little concern about those deemed to be the other, too many cavalier attitudes about the plight of the poor, too little money allocated for educational needs for those on the margins of society. Graduates, your task is writ large on the walls of the universe. You are called upon to be candles in the dark. You are to become the light that will illuminate minds now submerged in the dark caverns of untruths and distorted reality. You will guide your fellow beings out of their unlighted worlds of fictional reality. As you raise high your candles of truth, justice, equality, freedom from oppression, and the opportunity for all to manifest the potential they bring into the universe, those trapped in the prevailing mythological spaces of our time will sense opportunity to grow and develop, to become active participants in the enterprise of life as it can and should be lived. A difficult assignment? Yes, very true indeed. Difficult but not impossible. As an MSW student, I remember being admonished to start where the person is and help him or her see the myriad options available to be employed in the service of growth and development. What might seem to be too difficult to the faint of heart or to those who lack commitment may not seem difficult at all to you who are primed to accept the challenge. In fact, it is my hope that you will seek out the challenge and lead the way for those who falter. By dint of your choice to become social workers, you have set yourselves apart from those whose awareness of the social needs of our times is limited or absent altogether. By taking the reins and directing the course of action, you demonstrate the possibilities inherent in the universe you live in, and by so doing, invite others to join you in this enterprise. Because they continue to reside in the darkened corridors of this world, many who profess to be open and receptive to truth remain oblivious to the hardships of life as lived by countless others. Not too long ago, I was invited to address the graduates of a very highly rated prep school. The seniors, concerned because to them I was an unknown factor, asked if I would meet them at a breakfast organized by the school. As it turned out, I was to be quizzed about my beliefs and ideas about issues of importance to them. They did not want a discordant voice speaking to them on the day of graduation. I was met at the door by one of the students who said to me, "The first thing you have to know is we're all smart." And indeed, after just a few exchanges, I had ascertained that this group of prep students were well schooled in many subjects and were virtual experts in all things technological. They were stymied, however, when I mentioned that some of the citizens in their city went to bed hungry every night. In the world they lived in, nobody starved. It was simply beyond their imagination that such a circumstance could be real. They were not so smart after all. Those who are truly smart know that many things exist outside their ken of awareness, and because this is so, they commit to a life of learning. And this is my admonition to you as you go forth, candle held high, and your voice committed to calling out branch, root, rock to all who come behind you. Continue to learn all the lessons life has to teach you. By doing so, you will find at life's end that you have not risked the peril of being judged never to have lived. The footprint you leave behind will tell a story to be read with excitement by those who will follow you. Let the story of your life be the candle that can never be extinguished. Thank you.